Welcome to X-Rated Math. The purpose of this video is to show you how to solve coin problems. If I had $1 for every coin problem that teachers have given to students, then I could afford a Ferrari instead of my little yellow Corvette. Here is an example of a coin problem. Jack and Betty have 28 coins that are nickels and dimes. If the value of the coins is $1.95, how many coins of each type do they have? There are two kinds of statements found in coin problems. The first statement talks about the number of coins. The second statement talks about the value of the coins. In this problem, there are 28 coins that are nickels and dimes. So the number of nickels, N, added to the number of dimes, D, equals 28. The next equation talks about the value of the coins, which is $1.95. To get this equation, we start with the original equation, N plus D equals 28. We multiply the N by the value of a nickel, 5 cents, and we multiply the D by the value of a dime, 10 cents. We know that the value of the coins is $1.95. We now have two equations with two unknowns. You know the drill. You solve the equations simultaneously to find the value of each unknown. However, writing these equations is rather difficult, so let's just practice writing some more equations. We will go back and solve the equations in a few minutes. He has 33 coins in his pocket, all nickels and dimes. In this problem, we write the equation by adding the number of nickels, N, to the number of dimes, D, which equals 33. He received 10 more dimes than nickels. In this problem, the number of dimes is not equal to the number of nickels, and we have to write an equation which is equal. Let's add to make the coins equal. We could add 10 to the number of nickels, and that would equal to the number of dimes. So, D equals N plus 10 is the equation. We could also subtract to make the coins equal. So we could take 10 away from the number of dimes. In this equation, N equals D minus 10. Both equations are equally correct, but you use only one. Still, there's so many right ways to do this, how are you ever going to find a wrong way? He has 25 coins in his pocket, all quarters and dimes. In this problem, he found that the number of quarters and dimes is 25, so the equation is Q for quarter plus D for dime equals 25. She has 5 fewer quarters than dimes. Once again, we have to write an equation, but the number of quarters and dimes is not equal, so we can make them equal. Q plus 5 would equal D, or D minus 5 equals Q. Your teacher is using her imagination if she gives you a problem such as she found a treasure. There are 1,273 more doubloons than escudo. The number of escudo and doubloons are not equal, so you can add 1,273 to E, and that would equal D, or you could take 1,273 from D and get E. An adventurous teacher might say she had 15 more Hong Kong dollars than U.S. dollars. To get the U.S. dollars equal to the Hong Kong dollars, you would add 15 to U, so the equation is U plus 15 equals H. Or you could take 15 from the Hong Kong dollars to get U.S. dollars, so the equation is H minus 15 equals U. Back to the mundane. There are 32 coins in his pocket, all pennies and quarters. I can think of only one equation for this problem. The equation is P plus Q equals 32. That should be enough practice on the first statement. If not, go back and re-watch the video. Pause the video after you are presented with the problem and see if you can write the equation yourself. Here's a second type of statement. These equations talk about money. We would say 10 hundredths times D plus 5 hundredths times N equals $1.65. A second example would be 10 hundredths D equals 5 hundredths N minus 25 hundredths. Of course, the decimals are the value of the coins. Decimal 05 for nickels and decimal 10 for dimes. Here is the first example of a problem that we're going to convert into an equation. The value of nickels and dimes is $1.50. Here we are adding nickels and dimes. To find the value of the nickels, say 5 hundredths times N. The value of the dimes is 10 cents times the dimes. Added together, they equal $1.50. Trust me, you're going to want to remove the decimals from this equation. Yes, you can trust me. I'm not your girlfriend. We multiply each decimal number by 100. This produces 5N plus 10D, which equals 150. Here's an example of a problem. He received $55 in change, all in nickels and quarters. To convert this into an equation, you would say decimal 05N plus decimal 25Q equals $55. Remember to multiply through by 100. The result is 5N plus 25Q equals 5,500. Here is another example. He has $2.50 in dimes and quarters. The equation is decimal 10D plus decimal 25Q equals $2.50. Multiplying by 100 produces 10D plus 25Q equals 250. Express mail cost $13.25 for minimum weight, while priority mail cost $4.95 for the same weight. I spent $59.55 to mail my packages. The equation would be 13.25E plus 4.95P equals $59.55. Multiply through by 100 and you get 1,325E plus 495P equals 5,955. I hope that will be enough practice on the two types of statements. If not, you can watch the video over again. Now let's go back to the original problem. Jack and Betty have 28 coins that are nickels and dimes. If the value of coins is $1.95, how many coins of each type do they have? The first equation that you would write is N plus D equals 28. The next equation is decimal 05N plus decimal 10D equals 1.95. Multiply through by 100, which produces 5N plus 10D equals 195. To solve these equations, I will use substitution. We will start with the equation N plus D equals 28. We need to get either the N or the D by itself. For no particular reason, I'm going to get the D by itself, so I subtract N from both sides. This produces D equals 28 minus N. It's not good math, but you could just move the N across the equal sign, making it a negative N. This gives you the same thing that you had before. Your teacher may absolutely forbid this kind of thinking. Now you see why we call this X-rated math. Still, scientists and other people who use math often think in this fashion. Getting back to the problem, restate the equation 5N plus 10D equals 195. Now, rewrite the money or second equation, again leaving space where the D was. Substitute 28 minus N into the new equation. When you multiply by 10, you get 5n plus 280 minus 10n equals 195. Add your n's and you have negative 5n. Subtract 280 from both sides, yielding the equation negative 5n equals negative 85. Dividing both sides by negative 5 yields n equals 17. Put your first answer, 17, in the place of n. Subtract 17 from both sides and you have d equals 11. Write your second equation down, substituting 17 for n and 11 for d, which equals 195. Do the multiplication for both, and you see that this is correct. I had numbers and variables sliding in and out of the video as well as appearing and disappearing, so I thought that it might be useful for you to see the whole problem all on one screen. I went through this very hurriedly. Pause the video if you need more time. Here's still one more problem. Tori has $4.45 in quarters and dimes. If she has 8 more quarters and dimes, how many coins of each type does she have? Since there are 8 more quarters and dimes, add 8 to D, which equals Q. Now the money equation. Multiply decimal 25 times Q, add decimal 10 times D, and set it equal to 4 decimal 45. Of course, we want to multiply through by 100, yielding 25Q plus 10D equals 445. We already have Q equals D plus 8, so substitute the D plus 8 for Q in the second equation. Multiplying D and 8 by 25 produces 25D plus 200 plus 10D equals 445. Adding your D's together produces 35D plus 200 equals 445. Subtract 200 from both sides, producing 35D equals 245. Now, divide both sides by 35 to find that D equals 7. This is your first answer. You could substitute 7 for D in either of your original equations, but it helps me to keep things straight if I say, take your first answer and put it in D in your first equation. Then, ever since second grade, you've been able to add 7 plus 8 and get 15. Now take your first and second answer and put them in the second equation. This makes 25 times 15 plus 10 times 7 equals 445. Do the multiplying and you will find that this is correct. That's coin problems. With some practice, you will find that you can do this. Kids all over the world are doing this. And now it's your turn. Start with the equation Q equals D plus 8. Substitute this in for Q in the equation 25Q plus 10D equals 445. This yields the equation 25, parentheses, D plus 8, close parentheses, plus 10D equals 445. Solve for D and you will find that D equals 7. Next, go up to the top left-hand side and substitute 7 into the equation Q equals D plus 8. This yields Q equals 15. Finally, in the equation 25Q plus 10D equals 445, substitute 15 for Q and 7 for D. You will find that this solution is correct. Once again, if you need more time to study this page, pause the video.